Hi, welcome to Lord of Anime Recaps. In this video, we'll explore episodes 1 through 4 of Skeleton Knight in Another World, a series where a gamer awakens to discover he inhabits the body of his video game avatar. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be sure you don't miss the next episodes. We open on a girl and her maid being pinned down by thugs who cut their clothes off, preparing to rape them. As they beg for them to stop, the men laugh before a looming figure in shining armor appears behind them, killing 3 of them in a single sword strike. He introduces himself as Ark. After the intro, we see Ark awaken under a tree, confused as to where he is and why he is in armor. He begins to list off the abilities of his gear, saying they're the gear of Ark, the character he plays in a game. He remembers falling asleep playing the game and wonders if he is dreaming. He rapidly gauges that the sensation is too vivid for a dream and decides to test his newfound abilities, effortlessly felling numerous trees in a single stroke. Discovering magical prowess, he acknowledges his enhanced power, realizing he's somehow inside the game. He fell asleep playing. Intent on exploring, he first seeks a town for sustenance. Using a teleportation technique for short-range jumps within sight, he hovers in the air. Pausing by water, he removes his helmet, revealing he's a skeleton beneath. Deciding not to unveil this in town to avoid hostility, he admires food and contemplates earning money. Walking through town, he enters an alley witnessing a cloaked woman arguing with a man. He tells her that his investigation turned up nothing, and she argues that she paid double his usual rate. As she storms off, the man calls her a pain-in-the-arse elf, which excites Ark. He screams with joy, causing her to walk away from him a little faster. He tries to catch up to her, but she is gone from sight. As he searches for her, he finds a mercenary guild and decides to try to make money there. All eyes are on him and his ostentatious outfit as he enters the guild. The man at the desk in the guild informs him that he must slay 3 of either a beast, monster, or bandit, and bring back proof to earn his mercenary license to join the guild and get paid for jobs. As he leaves, the gossipy front desk man speculates to a mercenary that the knight has been forced to take on mercenary work to care for his sick child. We then see Ark has only 1 beast left to kill when an orc appears. Ark is overjoyed at the fact that he gets to kill his first real fantasy monster and easily kills it. As he heads back with his 3 kills, he comes across a caravan being attacked. He spots the fancy lady and her maid from the opening scene cowering. As the ladies are stripped, Ark runs the battle plan through his head, as fighting a human would be more like a player versus player fight than hunting. He recognizes they have a numbers advantage over him. Realizing what is about to happen to the girls and rationalizing that his incredibly powerful armor will probably be enough to give him the edge, he teleports down, and we are treated to the scene from the opening where he kills 3 men in one attack. The remaining bandits attempt to flee upon seeing their boss killed, but Ark hits them with the wyvern slash, the same attack that chopped down all of those trees earlier. Ark then checks on the girls, and the maid introduces the fancier girl as Lauren Laraya du Luvierte of the Luvierte family, then introduces herself as Rita. Rita asks if, since he is a knight, he is in the service of a lord. Realizing he has no real backstory, plays it cool and tells them to dress themselves and that they will talk later. Ark notes his lack of guilt at killing the men as he incinerates their bodies with magic. He then tries to steal the bandits' things while the girls are getting changed, but they finish before he can leave. They ask him to escort them back to the Luvierte manor, which he agrees to. Lyron stares admiringly at him as he rides next to them on the bandits' horses. Ark then brings his proof of kills to the front desk man at the guild and gets his license, as well as a runestone that was on the orc when it was killed. Ark celebrates with a delicious meal in his room and laughs heartily into the night, his skeleton head illuminated in the window, at the prospect of exploring this new fantasy world. We see a mother making food as her children sleep. Her older daughter wakes up just as the mother is slipping out the door as the sun rises, the way she does every day. The daughter prepares a message for the job board to help her mother, as her mother works hard for her and her sister. We then see Ark has accepted the job and shows his license to a guard who tells him to go to Sayona's place. He arrives at the house, and the older daughter, Marka, is terrified at the sight of him. He has a flashback to accepting the job because he is afraid that if he takes bigger jobs, he will expose his identity as a skeleton. Marka insists they head out right away. When questioned as to the reason for her urgency, she explains that she wants to finish before her mother returns, as her father used to pick the herbs and she wants to help since her mother has been raising them alone. Moved by how noble Marka is, Ark tears up and they begin to pick herbs deep in the woods. Suddenly, something rustles in the bushes, and he prepares to fight whatever monster it is. As he pulls back the foliage, a small, multi-tailed fox growls at him. Marka notices that it is hurt, and that's why it's growling. Ark allows it to bite his hand, which causes him no pain as the creature is tiny. He casts a healing spell, which fixes its leg, and the creature happily runs around him. It wants to stay with him, and he names it Ponta. Meanwhile, back at the village, Seona, Marka's mother, returns as a hunter is freaking out about monsters in the forest. The old man guard asks her if she sent Marka on an errand as there was a knight there to see her. Marka, Ark, and Ponta find a beautiful tree at the center of the forest, but as Marka heads towards it, a giant monster awakens. Ark realizes from Ponta's reaction to the creature, which looks like a centaur version of a saber-toothed lizard, that it is the thing that hurt him. Just as it is about to stomp on Marka, Ark teleports her to safety. The creature spits a poison fog at him and he avoids it. Realizing the creature is a giant basilisk, it attacks him as he avoids its blows while still carrying Marka. Suddenly, blasts everything in the area with its petrifying eyes, turning birds and bunnies to stone. Ark's shield puts out a force field that blocks its attack. It begins to swipe at him with its claws and shoots more poison fog, but he manages to deflect each attack before launching his own counterattack. His track is called Judgment, and it allows him to slash the ground as a sword of light appears under the enemy, killing it. The basilisk goes down in a single hit. Amazed, Marka tells him the townsfolk will probably hold a celebration, but he asks her to keep the specifics of the creature's death a secret, as he does not want to have to remove his helmet. He then kills a fanged boar as a gift to the village, taking the tusks and runed stone as his reward for killing it. He asks that someone tan its hide as a gift for Marka, and says the villagers can split the meat. Seona finds Marka and they tearfully embrace. As Marka tries to explain why she went to the woods, Ark steps in and asks Seona not to scold her as there is not a child that cares more for her mother than Marka. Seona happily hugs her daughter in agreement. The guards ask Ark if he ran into a monster, but he simply says there's nothing to worry about as he and Marka share a secret smile. As Ark says goodbye to Marka and her family, her little sister gives Ark a flower crown and Marka pats Ponta. As he leaves, promising they will meet again someday, we cut to an army of soldiers fighting and killing a basilisk. The commander gets the report from his subordinate about the number of soldiers injured and dead in the fight, and he is then shown the corpse of the basilisk Ark killed. As they wonder what kind of man, god, or demon could have killed it in a single blow, we see Ark and Ponta eating in his room. He decides to try a harder quest the next day in hopes of making the world a better place. We see the elf woman from the alleyway walking at night lamenting the plight of her people and the expansion of deceitful humans into their land. This is why she must be a warrior, she says to herself, as she prepares to ambush Ark as he leaves a cave. We then flash to a group of bandits in the cave running in fear from Ark, who then finds their treasure hoard as well as 2 empty caves. We cut to a man named Lord Triton du Diento, being informed that his assassination of Lauren Luvierte has been a failure. He then asks about the beasts he imported into Luvierte lands, which turn out to be the 2 basilisks. The butler giving the report asks why Prince Dakaris is even targeting the Luvierte lands. He explains that, if the lands to the north were under Prince Dakares' control, then their allies to the east could invade the lands to the west. The Luviertes family has a backing by the Western Prince sect. Lord Diento orders the butler to secure their product and not to do anything that would alert Princess Uriana to their actions. We then see Ark and Ponta leaving the cave with the goods they got from the bandits. The elf attacks him, and he parries her attacks, thinking she is a bandit who survived his attack. In their scuffle, her hood comes off, and he recognizes her as the elf from the alley. She tells him he will return the children he has stolen, which confuses him as he has not stolen any children. She goes for a finishing blow on him, but Ponta surprises her. She cannot understand why a spirit creature would be bonded with a bandit. He explains how he and Ponta met, and she apologizes for attacking him unfairly. They discuss the bandits and how they had been hunting elves to sell at the slave market. She accuses him of knowing that already, but he informs her he had no idea and that she is the first elf he has ever seen. He offers his help, but she turns it down and leaves. He decides to help anyway, as in video games, helping a beautiful elf girl is always a good quest. The next day, he teleports to where he thinks the elf forest will be, since he does not even know the elf girl's name or where she is. In the forest, a young elf girl is fleeing her captors, who drag her back as their leader, the son of Lord Diento, cuts a small gash in her leg just for fun. Ark sees all of this happening and decides to intervene. Before he can, however, the elf girl from the alley bursts out of the woods and attacks the slavers. She is making quick work of them until Lord Diento's son threatens to kill the elf slaves if she resists. She puts down her sword and the men close in on her, cutting off her cloak and lifting her skirt with their blades. Ark teleports in behind Lord Diento's son and takes him out with an armoured strike. Now free to fight once more, the elf warrior takes down the rest of the slavers. As Ark approaches the cage the elf girls are in, the elf warrior says she does not need his help, and he ignores her protests as he rips the chained lock off of the cage and frees the prisoners. The elf warrior is appalled at seeing the prisoners have mana-eating collars, which block the elves from using magic. She laments that she cannot remove them out here, and Ark says he will try. He not only removes the collars with his magic, but he heals the cut leg of the one elf girl, much to their joy and the shock of the elf warrior. The elf warrior calls a spirit animal bird over that can deliver a message to the other elves to come take the young elf girls home. As the giggling elf girls leave for home, Ark promises he will always come running to their aid if villains show up. The elf warrior asks who he is, and he says he is no one important, just a travelling mercenary named Ark and his trusty companion Ponta. She introduces herself as Ariane Glennis Maple. Ariane gets a message from another bird that they know where the other elf slaves are being held and to return to the village to prepare to go free them. She asks Ark for his help. Ark accepts Ariane's request for help and teleports them near the town so they can go in and meet up with the other elf. Initially, Ark is excited to see what Danka the other elf is like, but both Ark and Ponta are immediately put off by how harsh he looks. They go to a tavern where Ark refuses to take off his helmet as Ariane further introduces Danka as Danka Neil Maple. Ark thinks they may be siblings as they both have the name Maple, but she explains that Elves have 3 names: your given name, the name of your parent of the same gender, and the name of the village you are from, so they are both from the same city, but are not related. Ark tries to ask Danka for information, but he is completely ignored by the door elf. Danka asks why Ark is even there, and Ariane explains that he helped her and can use teleportation magic. Ponta then reveals himself, and this is enough to make Danka begrudgingly accept Ark's presence. After Ark leaves for some errands, Danka further interrogates Ariane about her battle with the slavers. She feels ashamed that she needed Ark's help, feeling like she has failed as a warrior and that her sister would have easily saved the day. We then cut to the elf slaves telling their captors that elf warriors will free them. The captors laugh at her, and then one grabs her by the hair and grotesquely licks her face to prove a point. Ark, Ponta, Ariane, and Danka scope out the facility the elves are being held in, and Ariane asks if Ark can teleport them up to a window. Both Eleves are shocked at his short-range teleportation magic. Ariane climbs through a window, struggling to get a curvaceous figure through the small window, but eventually succeeding, only to have the others short-range teleport inside, much to her embarrassment. The group sneaks through the facility and opens a door to find 2 dead men with their throats slit in their beds. The group splits up and Ark finds another room full of men with slit throats. He is attacked by a ninja and excitedly notices she has animal ears and a tail. She immediately apologizes upon seeing Ponta, since no one with a spirit creature is malicious. She explains that she was there for something she could not find, but that the elves are under the facility. She throws him a mysterious scroll and then tosses Ponta a little treat. She tells him that there are also 2 elves being held in the Lord's Manor and then leaves. He brings the documents to Danka and Ariane, and they see it is a contract for purchasing elf slaves, proving Lord Diento is involved. They are attacked by guards, and Ariane uses a fire spell to incinerate them with a sword strike. The group must now fight their way to the basement. They free the elves in the basement, and Ark teleports them out. He removes their mana-restricting collars, and Danka says he will take them to safety. Ark, Ponta, and Ariane teleport to the palace to free the other 2 elves. As they do, the ninja girl and another furry-eared person watch. She is impressed that he knew what a ninja was and says she will meet him again.